Well, there are over 40,000 United Nations employees working in New York City. Of those, 30% fall into the highly paid professional category. In 2010, the United States contributed nearly $8 billion to the UN. That's the official tally done by the Obama administration. And for the past 2 years, the government has been trying to figure out how that money is spent on pay and perks for UN employees. The answer? We still have no clue. Joining us from Washington is the Weekly Standard's Michael Warren. Good morning, Michael. So, are we sure we know how much the U.S. government gives to the UN?
No, we're not sure. We have absolutely no idea how much we give, which is really kind of maddening if you think about it. It's not like this is money that's going to things that Americans love, like beer and burgers and freedom and stuff like that. It's going to the United Nations. I mean, this is an organization that seems to, its sole purpose is to elevate other countries to hate on America and our allies, like Israel. So, I mean, this is money that American taxpayers are shelling out. We don't even have any idea how much it is, and it's not even going to something great.
Well, not surprisingly, UN workers do pretty well. They can't be fired, for example. They don't have to pay their parking tickets, and their salaries and full compensation packages are pretty tremendous. I want to put up on the screen a comparison. Here's the average UN worker at the low end, $65,000. The average federal worker, who, by the way, is higher than the average private sector worker in the United States, $47,000. It's a pretty good deal to work at the UN, isn't it?
That's right. I should get a job there. I mean, this is the same kind of problem that we're seeing at state level, municipal level, even federal level with federal government workers, as you mentioned, making quite good money, and those pension funds, too, which are going out of control in the growth and the spending. You got people retiring earlier than they do in the private sector. This is a real problem. And then you add to that the fact that this is the United Nations. It's not like we can vote for somebody at the United Nations to clean this up, like, hey, maybe they did in New Jersey with Chris Christie and the teachers' unions. It's a perfect example of actually being able to do something about it through elected officials. It's not like we vote for the Secretary General of the UN. So how do we exactly do this? It's not only that we don't know how much it is, we have no way to fix it.
So I'm going to put up on the screen, this is at the high end of the UN. The average UN worker at the white-collar ranks, $176,000 as compared to the federal worker who's more than $50,000 lower. So 3 years ago, the Obama administration stopped publishing a report of how much the U.S. gives to the UN. Why would they try and keep that information from the public?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. This is the most baffling part of this, is that they've stopped trying to figure this out. They've done these studies and tried to figure it out, and they just haven't published the information. I will say there's one silver lining to all this, if you can call it that, which is that the number, $7.6 billion that it was in 2010, is really a small percentage. I did some back-of-the-envelope calculations. I'm kind of a math whiz. And it's a really small, like less than 0.5% of the federal budget. So it's not that much money in the grand scheme of things that we're giving. Even if you say it's $15 billion in the last 4 years it's jumped up to, it would still be less than 0.5%. So it's not something that is going to break the bank here in the United States. But again, it is maddening. And the fact that we can't do anything about it is... Yeah. I mean, it's just frustrating.
Sending billions to a group that hates you, and you're not even allowed to know how much you're sending. Yeah, it's annoying. Michael Warren from the Weekly Standard. Thanks a lot for joining us this morning. It's really interesting.
Thanks, Tucker.